Is your daily routine so terrible, so awful that it's actually ruining and hindering your creativity? This is an idea that hit me pretty recently. I was reading a Substack article that I'll break it down a little bit in a minute, but basically caused me to just pause and go, wait, like, have we over maximalized our time? Have we gone down this road of like, oh, what's the perfect routine? What's the way, what's the best way to maximize my time? Yeah, it just got me thinking, is there a different perspective and approach? So that's what I want to bring today. I want to help you kind of bring about a different perspective. Maybe you're coming from a place where you're like, you clicked on this video, you're like, I definitely need a better morning routine. Or maybe you're like, yeah, this morning routine isn't doing it for me, right? Or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a morning routine, just like the way you operate your life, the schedule, the pace that you go at, all of that impacts, for better or for worse, your creativity. There's also different seasons too. We could caveat this a million times. So let me jump into this Substack article. I'll link it in the description below and you can have a look for it yourself. It's interesting. So let's take a look at it. The Substack is called Discomfort is the Price You Pay for a Fulfilling Life. And essentially this person is talking about how sometimes routine is actually ruining our ability to take risks, and that risk-taking behavior is actually valuable. And I wanted to tie this into creativity. Let me read this first paragraph for you. I find myself asking this more and more. Since when did boundaries and routine become more important than growth, adventure, and being there for others? Why do some people dread going to the plans that they made and would rather go to bed early so they can wake up early for their morning routine? I won't lie, I've been a victim of this. I think after the pandemic, I may have started protecting my peace a bit too much. Thankfully, I snapped out of it. Grabbed coffee to catch up with a friend, and not missing someone's celebration is more important than being able to wake up at 6 a.m. to get 10,000 steps in before 9 a.m. So I think it's an interesting idea that, yeah, there's times, maybe it's the introverted in me. I tend to lean more introverted than extroverted. There is this desire to like, well, I have my routine and I don't want to mess that up. Or there are benefits that I get maybe in my job when I'm rested. There are benefits that I get when I have time in the morning for myself. I think everyone is a little bit different when it comes to this. As creatives, we tend to be maybe a little more chaotic. Again, I can only speak for myself, so I don't lean this way. But I know a lot of creatives who like they'll wake up 5 minutes before they need to leave. That to me is insane. If you're like that, please comment. Let me know if that is a reality for you. You can just like wake up and go. For me, I need to be awake for hours before I interact with anyone. Ideally, that's like the ideal situation, right? So yeah, it's an interesting idea. It's like, okay, have we overdone it with our desire for a routine? I know for me, knowing my strengths and weaknesses, knowing what helps me thrive on a given day, a given week is really important. That would be my first encouragement for you, is to know your weaknesses, know your strengths. As a creative, are you going to be more creative by being able to be in a consistent routine every single day? Or do you need to switch it up? Do you need to be able to say yes to spontaneous plans? Do you need to keep your schedule open? Is that going to help you and your art and your pursuit of your creativity? Obviously, that's totally up to you. Thankfully, we're all very different and we all thrive in different ways. And yeah, I remember growing up, I had a lot of extroverted friends. They would always want to throw out last minute plans and say, let's go do this. And I would always have to just like, I needed like 5 minutes even sometimes just to process. Wait, what are we doing? What's changing? I think I've grown in that a lot as an adult. I'm much more spontaneous, or I'm able to be more flexible. I'm less rigid in my planning and I can just say yes to things. But at the same time, that's not how I live my daily life. My daily life is much more structured, and I like to have everything in the calendar. I put everything on the calendar. Or if it doesn't go on the calendar, it goes on like a whiteboard as a list. I love making lists. Comment below if you love making lists too. So that's interesting. Let's keep reading more from this Substack post, see if we can pull out a little bit more. They say, every time I travel, I literally feel reborn. I know it's been said a million times, but it truly makes me feel like I can do anything. Getting myself to a foreign country, interacting with new people, and immersing myself in the culture. I feel fulfilled, and it's not coming from a routine. And that's so true. I have sensed in my own life too that travel is really valuable for me as a creative, that there's the routine that kind of tethers me to who I am as a person in a way. But then you have the exploration when I get to travel and take trips, and that's almost like a reawakening, like just a refresh. And I think for creatives, we often need that refresh. They go on to say, get familiar with the unknown, the feeling of exploring a coffee shop you've never been to, the initial awkwardness of talking to a stranger, the unease of eating alone at a restaurant, the effort of dragging yourself off the couch to go dancing with your friends, the indulgence of letting yourself sleep until 11. There's more to life than constant stability. When your days start blending together, make it a point to do at least one thing to break up the monotony. Walk a different way to work, put on that dress that's been hanging in your closet for a special occasion, or book that trip. So yeah, there is this interesting thing in our culture where I think we have tried to program ourselves, fall in line and say, yep, I need to have this perfect routine. And I know for me, like doing the same things every day is not enjoyable. There's a balance of like routine, when I wake up, what I'm doing in the morning, the time I go to work. Those things, having those being consistent, I do think is helpful. And again, I'm just speaking for me. You might be on a totally different space. But then within my time at work, having different things that I'm doing, having different times where I'm at my desk or doing something a little more active or balancing creative work. Often I try to make sure my most heavy, intensive, like when I'm thinking a big picture stuff, right? And when I'm trying to big picture brainstorming, like that's always best to do in the mornings. And then in the afternoons, I enjoy being able to do something a little more active, keep myself going, or maybe it's something a little more monotonous like video editing, photo editing, creating a graphic, something like that. And so, yeah, I do think there is that balance. And maybe for you and your creativity maybe it's your days off or on a weekend or something, being able to just, hey, I'm going to stay up late. I'm going to hang out with friends. I'm going to do something spontaneous. I'm going to sleep in the next morning. Having that privilege and opportunity to be able to do that and explore creativity in a new way, I think is pretty valuable. My suggestion in that would be find what works best for your creativity and the goals that you have, right? We all should be pursuing our goals and kind of having things in mind. And so maybe that saying yes to that spontaneous thing or trying something new or a new experience, maybe that's going to match your goals of, hey, I want to be more creative. I want to try something new. I'm exploring the bounds, I guess the boundlessness of where my creativity can go, where my mind is able to go with what I'm able to do. And yeah, maybe that's a goal for you. And so being more spontaneous would suit that goal. Maybe you have a goal where you're like, hey, I kind of need to get my stuff in order. I need to be developing better habits, be developing better routines. So maybe it's the opposite. It's like, hey, I've done the time of creative, boundaryless pursuits, and I'm in a season where I know in order to suit my goals better or to be a better creative, be able to create better or more consistently, more efficiently, whatever it is, you need that routine in place. You need to figure that out. And so, yeah, I would recommend, like, what are your goals? What are you trying to pursue? And that is going to impact the season that you're in and how you are showing up. Are you saying yes to spontaneous things? Are you holding tight to your boundaries? Is there a balance? Is there a letting go in some areas? Is there a tightening down in other areas? That would be my recommendation. Let's keep reading. Working toward a goal, a project, a dream, it requires real dedication. It's inconvenient. It's uncomfortable. It's a lot of sitting in silence. It's having uninspired days, but it's also being struck with creativity in the middle of the night. It's the rush of your fingers flying across the keyboard, trying to keep up with your ideas racing through your mind. It's the new people, art, and experiences you encounter along the way. I'll read this final paragraph. It's all connected. The relationships you nurture, the hobbies you pursue, your travels, your daily life. You'll stumble, you'll feel exhausted, you'll be hard on yourself. But your patience and persistence will ultimately pay off. Leaning into that discomfort and pushing yourself, whether it's setting aside an hour to write, reworking a painting again and again, spending hours perfecting an outfit, or saying yes to last-minute plans, will ultimately feel more rewarding because you didn't give in to those limiting beliefs. Yeah, and it's this idea of like limiting beliefs. Is that your routine? Is your routine keeping you in this limited mindset of like, well, I have to do this, or I'm going to do this, or I already said that this is how my week is going to go. As creatives, we need to be open and available to the creative urge, right? The thing that kind of hits us in the middle of the night, this idea, being able to, act upon that, write that down, pursue that new idea, rework something that we've already done. I think that's cool advice. I think that's very aspirational and very encouraging. So I hope that encourages you. I would say that a reminder is that creativity is not always about the end result. Creativity is about the process, right? Creativity is a great way for us to, one, connect with ourselves and our gifts and abilities, but also to be connecting with God, being able to connect with the one who gave us our creative gifts, our creative mind, our creative ability. And through the process of just creating in and of itself, and through experiencing that, we're able to connect with God, with the Creator. So yeah, sometimes we get so caught up in the end result, like even that idea going back to the morning routine, did that deliver the result that I was looking for? Was I able to create more effectively or efficiently because of the morning routine? As this article is kind of pointing out, hey, there is fulfillment in the spontaneity. There's fulfillment in being open creatively, being able to do something spontaneous and let that give you energy and ideas for your next creative project. And so there is a bit more in that way of thinking about it, like this process of just existing, and then you create out of that. And maybe it's less about the results. I think the results are important, especially if you're early in your career as a creative, or you're early in trying out new gifts. Is there are like the practical side of it is like, do I have the skills? Can I do this? But at a certain point, and I think all throughout life, in your creative journey, you should be thinking about, well, what is the process of creating, and why in it is that in and of itself okay and fulfilling enough that I don't need to have the end results? Being able to let go and say, man, if I didn't have an end result, would I still be creating this? And hopefully the answer is yes for you. I know for me, and I was thinking about this earlier today, was there is, you see it pop up a lot in the Psalms in the Bible, is that David, who wrote a lot of the Psalms, he was just writing about how much he enjoyed God's creativity. It's like he looks outside and he sees all the creative beauty, all the nature, all of the things that are put together and ordered and have a purpose and a function, and that just being able to enjoy that in and of itself was fulfilling, that the writer didn't have to do something about it, right? When you see a beautiful painting, or even better, when you're outside and you see the most beautiful view or vista, there's nothing that you really need to do in response to that beauty and that creativity. There's nothing that you need to do as a response. You just are there to enjoy it and appreciate it. And I think our creativity can and should be the same, is that we're just creating because we've been given the gifts and abilities to do that creation. And so, yeah, there's this interesting thing. I hope you see that, how your creativity and your gifts can help connect you with God. I know for me that is something that in this season I've really been trying to grow in. So much of my life I have tried, and I think I've benefited a lot from doing this, but tried to just order my life and make sure boundaries are in place and I am functioning and being able to be efficient with my time. But ultimately that has led me to just getting stuck in my creativity and only thinking about the end results and not appreciating the process, not appreciating the God-given gifts and the process of what I'm able to do. So yeah, that would be my sort of third and final encouragement, is enjoy the process of creating, and remember that it is God who's given you those gifts. And so we are able to just connect more with Him when we are creating and doing all of that. My name is Tristan. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for kind of hearing my rambling. This is how I do most of my videos. You can check out my Substack. I love reading things like this article I just read on Substack. All of the videos I make, I take the transcripts and I put them on Substack. So maybe if you're more of a reader or you just want to follow me on there as well, I would definitely appreciate that. I'll put links to the Substack that I just read as well as to my own in the description. Thank you.